chair slammed onto the floor with a deafening bang. My body, stiff as a statue, fell with it, and my face, at last, was revealed. The rolling pin slipped from Mom's grasp, clattering to the floor with a hollow ring that cut through the thick, fetid air. For a heartbeat, she stood frozen, her eyes glued to my face, my bloated, discolored face, and the world around her seemed to tilt, as if the ground beneath her feet had turned to quicksand. The fury that had fueled her for 3 days evaporated in an instant, replaced by a raw, animalistic terror that made her knees knock and her breath come in ragged, strangled gasps. My skin was no longer the pale, clammy flesh of a sick child. It had swollen into splotches of gray and deep, bruising purple, stretched tight over my cheekbones as if ready to burst. My lips were pulled back in a rigid, unnatural grimace, exposing yellowed teeth, and a thick, dark crust had dried at the corner of my mouth, what was left of the blood I'd coughed up in my final moments. My eyes, once wide with fear and begging, were now half-lidded, glassy and empty, fixed staring at the crumpled notebook on the desk where I'd scrawled my last pleas. The skin on my forehead was peeling in thin, sticky flakes, and the honesty bracelet, still clamped tightly around my wrist, blazed with a frantic, unyielding red, bright, mocking, unbroken. I was unrecognizable. Not Audrey, the liar. Not Audrey, the daughter. Just a corpse. A rotting, forgotten thing that had been left to die behind a locked door while she laughed with Mina, ate lobster, and celebrated the new year as if I didn't exist. Mom's mouth fell open, but no sound came out. Her hands trembled so violently that her fingers curled into useless claws at her sides, and a single, shaky whimper escaped her throat, a sound so small, so broken, it might have been a mouse's squeak. She took a stumbling step back, her heel catching on the leg of the fallen chair, and she nearly crumpled to the floor. She caught herself on the edge of my desk, her palm slamming down hard on the open notebook, right on top of the words I'd written with my last ounce of strength. Please, Mom. Just believe me this one time. The ink was smudged, faded by tears and dust, but she read it. I watched her eyes scan the messy, childish handwriting, the shaky loops of love, the smudged hurt, the desperate pleas, and something in her snapped. Her breath hitched, and a tear rolled down her cheek, hot and fast, landing on the page and spreading the ink into a blurry stain. For a long, endless minute, she just stared at that stain, as if it might somehow erase what she was seeing, erase what she'd done. The bracelet, she mumbled, her voice so quiet I could barely hear it, even floating inches from her face. Her eyes darted wildly to my wrist, to the red light that still blazed. The bracelet doesn't lie. It can't lie. You were faking. You were being defiant. You were a liar. You were always a liar. Her voice cracked, and she broke off, pressing a hand to her mouth to stifle a sob. She sank to her knees on the floor, right next to my rigid body, and the stench of decay wrapped around her like a shroud. But she didn't move away. She couldn't. Her gaze was glued to my face, to the empty eyes that had once looked up at her with nothing but love and longing, and she whispered over and over again, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Audrey, I'm sorry. It was too late. Too late for apologies. Too late for hugs. Too late for a single word of comfort, a single act of kindness, a single moment of belief. I was dead, and nothing she said, nothing she did, could bring me back. The electric shocks, the locked doors, the endless accusations, the years of being called a liar, of being made to believe I was broken, they had all killed me long before my body finally gave out. Mina's footsteps